What's going on, guys? This is Tower number 9. I am coming to you here with a bit of a different video from some of the stuff that I've been showing on the channel. I just want to take a quick moment and discuss what happened at the Take the Initiative tournament, which was played on Tabletop Simulator for Star Wars Unlimited. And to the best of my knowledge, this was the first public tournament held in this game. It's possible there was another tournament I'm not aware of. If you're aware of one, please correct me in the comments below. It's also very possible that there were some kind of internal tournaments during playtesting that we wouldn't know about, but the FFG designers and developers and playtest team would. But to the best of my knowledge, this was the first public tournament of Star Wars Unlimited. So it was played on Tabletop Simulator. We only have about half the cards in the pool, but it actually went really well. And I wanted to just share some takeaways that I had from that and see what you guys think. So first off, I thought the tournament played really fast. It was I believe the round time was scheduled to be 1 hour, and it was a best of three in an hour. So in some ways that seems like a fast schedule, but we had multiple rounds running early, maybe even 30 minutes early. People were finishing a 2 out of 3 match in 20 or 30 minutes some of the time. And that was really allowing the event to move at a fast pace. I believe the next rounds were able to start early on multiple occasions, and the event as a whole ended about, I don't know the exact time, but I think it finished about an hour and a half before it was scheduled to be closing. So that's a big upside. That's a big win, I think, that's a big win for the game. The being able to play this fast. It actually even seemed like the games are so fast you could even do, potentially if you wanted to have the finals or the top cut or something be not just 2 out of 3, but maybe even, 3 out of 5. That seemed like something that would be entirely possible. So that was a major takeaway. So that was the first big takeaway, is the game plays very fast. The second big takeaway, there were almost no rules issues. I think that the only judge calls that occurred during the tournament were based on things where people had misplayed something and they were trying to figure out how to do it, or situations that had to do with, people messing something up on Tabletop Simulator or whatever. I don't think there was a single, like, how does this card interaction work question that became contentious throughout the entire event. So only a 16-player event, very early, but it seemed like even without the full rule book, the game plays pretty straightforwardly. There weren't a lot of issues, there weren't a lot of disputes. So that's another big win. So first up went fast. Second up, not too controversial when it came to the rules. Both of those, I think, major positives for the game. Third, games were a lot of fun. We had sideboarding, so the official sideboarding rules aren't known. So it ended up being the tournament was run with 10 card sideboard and no pre-boarding. So pre-boarding refers to a sideboard procedure that allows you to sideboard for the first game. Like you see your opponent's leader and base, and then you can sideboard immediately. That was not allowed in this tournament. I don't know if the final FFG tournament format is going to allow it or not, but there was no pre-boarding for this event, and I think it worked fine. This is players that played Flesh and Blood TCG might be familiar with pre-boarding, as that's how that works in that game. Players who played Magic, this was more like Magic than it was like Fab. So it was you can substitute in cards from your sideboard in between rounds 1 and 2 and in between rounds 2 and 3 of your match, or I should say games 1 and 2 and games 2 and 3. So you'd have a situation where it's like, oh, maybe you play your first game of the match, you lose, and you're like, man, I gotta change this up. I gotta include some different stuff in order to fight this strategy effectively. So you make some changes to your deck and then try to run with that and see how it goes. And that was fine, very fast, didn't take up too much time, allowed you to kind of alter your composition a little bit and include some potential counters or some narrower cards in situations where you had to. Honestly, it didn't seem entirely necessary to me. I do think it's an overall good system though, and I think the benefit of sideboarding will increase as we get a bigger card pool. So, even though it didn't seem entirely necessary this time, I suspect the future will make it even better. So then Next up, we have we have the actual results themselves. So I think that it wasn't so surprising how the games actually panned out. I think the winner was Thork, who I've featured on some of the videos from this channel. He was playing Darth Vader, and congratulations to him. I think he was actually the only Vader player of the tournament. One of the big things, one of the big takeaways is Boba is very popular right now. I think that about half the lists, a little bit less than half, were playing Boba, and Boba ended up being a little bit more than half of the top eight. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's the best, because his performance was not so out of line with his representation. Um, to put things another way, if more than half the tournament had been playing Luke, and Luke was a little bit more than half the top eight, that would seem basically normal. It would not necessarily mean Luke was overpowered. It's hard to calculate exactly these things, especially with such limited information. But Boba certainly did quite well. The final ended up being Vader versus Boba, and it was a victory for Thork on Vader. The energy conversion labs, super popular. Lots of energy conversion labs being played this tournament. I think maybe even a majority of decks ran the energy conversion lab. So very, very popular base. Again, not necessarily reflective of the total meta. Very small event, first event. We don't know too much about it, but energy conversion lab very popular. And then maybe more relevantly, every single deck in this tournament ran a 25 HP base. There was not a single 30 HP base in the tournament. And that one, again, very early, don't know for sure, but that one I think might actually be indicative of what the competitive balance will end up looking like. The 25 HP bases seem to be a lot stronger than the 30 HP bases to me in constructed play, at least. And we'll have to see. I think so. Boba was the most popular. He was followed up by Sabine, was actually the second most popular. And then I think there were quite a few Bobas, a few Sabines, and then various heroes where there was just like one person playing them. So I think we had like one Thrawn, one Luke, one Chewie, one Krennic. The Krennic actually made it to the Krennic actually made it to the top four, I believe. And then last main thing I want to hit is just my own results. I was playing Cunning Sabine in this tournament, and I won all three of my games in the Swiss phase, and then I was defeated in top eight by an even more aggro Boba deck, which was it was an interesting experience. It was not something that I had anticipated seeing, so yeah. And then for the next few days, I'm going to be uploading my own footage of my games from the tournament. So I think we're going to have the first one of those will probably go up tonight, and that will be with commentary. So stay tuned for more on this tournament, but I thought I'd just do this short little video and let you guys know some of the main takeaways. Overall, having played in this tournament, I thought it was a really positive experience, and it's given me a lot of optimism for the game because if this is what competitive play is going to be like for this game, I think it's in a strong spot. It went a lot smoother than some other competitive events that I've participated in, and it went a lot smoother despite being a game that's not even out yet, where we don't even know all the cards, all that kind of stuff. So big shout out to the tournament organizer, Rishca. Big shout out to Rishca. Thanks for putting this together. I thought it went great. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Stay tuned for more Star Wars Unlimited content. This is not my daily video for the day. I will have the daily video up as well with the first of my tournament gameplays. So thanks to y'all for watching, and we'll be back later with some more Star Wars Unlimited content. I'll catch you guys later.